Howdy gamers, how's it going? Jester back at it again with one final dogshit video. I have overthought and bolded out what I have to say in this video. It's actually 4 pages worth of really dense fucking bullet points. Because it's obviously important and because I intend for this to be my last video. And it's not like I can make any fucking corrections later on. So yeah, just to first off, I cannot understate how big of a deal it was to have this YouTube channel blow up at first. It was life-changing and likely saved my life. When the channel first blew up, I was working a fucking horrible job. I had little aspiration. My mental state was so in the fucking dump that I was suicidal. And I had been to the fucking hospital for that and attempts and shit. And there was a lot of personal stuff I'm not going to get into. But my life in general was just always kind of a fucking mess. And it helped put a lot of things in order for me because knew on some level I cared, but I had never fully realized until I had some sort of confirmation of something doing well in people's reaction, and like how much of a large passion I had just to entertain others in really any capacity. And now that I had this outlet that had some people fucking watching me, it helped me almost formulate my entire life around it so that way I can most effectively do that. And it helped me realize a lot of things that weren't super clear. It's like, oh, I had a really dog shit job. How about I get a better job? One that's fairly easier. That way I'm not exhausted and want to fucking kill myself when I'm trying to make a YouTube video. Then I ended up getting a fucking job as a goddamn janitor. And that was actually not half bad. But then that janitor job gave me enough downtime where it's like, I might as well improve my life more so that way I can have more money and better security and a better future. So that way I can better pursue the things I care about, whether they be YouTube or people and stuff like that. And I eventually got IT certifications as a custodian in the fucking janitor closet. I moved across the country for an IT job. I then moved back to where I'm used to. And I have a pretty damn good job now. I'm really proud of that. And I don't think those things would have ever happened if it wasn't for YouTube. It's what really sparked the fire to really get my life in order. And I'm incredibly grateful for it. With that being said, though, so much of my personal life is to thank. If you even look, and I'll paint it up a little bit here, if you look a little bit, there's a lot of fuckers that I've met over the years, all up here. Incredibly important. This fucking asshole, I moved in with for a year. I met him in my fucking Twitch chat. Moved in with him for a year as I was doing IT stuff across the goddamn country in New York. Romantic interest, plenty of other bullshit here. There's gaming going on over there. And it's just, I'm incredibly grateful for what the channel has been able to give me. There's going to be a monitor in the corner. I don't fucking care. Eat shit. I'm not moving my camera. With that being said, though, specifically within the tunnel visioning of the channel itself, of course, the Funny Mike videos first blew up. And that was a lot just luck, I feel. However, then I successfully made almost every single possible decision to fucking ruin the opportunity, which is pretty funny. Hell yeah. By the way, I'm a bit ill. My face is a bit of a rash. If I look like I'm have the fucking plague, that's why. I don't care. So the this really is just a goodbye to doing stuff on YouTube. In no way is this I'm done making things. I'll go more detail on what I'm doing later, specifically within this channel. I did fail a lot the entire time. Like at the first, it was like fucking guides, and then I did like let's play style shit, and then I tried doing like commentary and then documentary stuff and huge breaks in between. I had like a lot of Discord stuff going on, and I eventually did stream highlights, and very inconsistently did any of those, and it was a lot in my life, if I look back on it, I think is my instability to stay to doing something. And that's kind of what made me hold on to the YouTube channel for so long. Because it was like, even in its inconsistency, this is the thing I've had the longest. If you look back at the 4 years since I've been doing this, and at the store, I've been doing it my whole life, but like since the Funny Mike videos did well. And if you look at where I was living, that was and soon going to be 7 fucking places ago. I've moved 7 times within the last 4 years. By the time you're watching this, I'm moving very soon now. Again. And I've done that my whole life. I've had a whole bunch of different jobs, but things are generally still significantly better. But there is easily no problem in my life greater than my inability to kind of commit to something long term. And that's why, kind of, as a proving point, I didn't want to give up on YouTube, but eventually kind of became not an option. And the reason that is because I am and will always be someone who kind of likes to find that line that you're allowed to not do things and just kind of step over that or way the fuck over it sometimes. And I exist almost as a person seemingly to kind of test where those limits are and then go way over and just kind of generally be a shithead and tough shit. And that's allowed more or less certain places. In general, there's a lot of things I can't do anymore. And YouTube, I have had a lot of fucking strikes. I've written them down, the ones I've had, because it's almost hard to remember. I've had some major one. I've had 3 previous strikes. And at this point, it's like I can hardly upload everything. Like the things I've gotten striked for are there's worse on my channel. And at some point, this entire channel is just going to get deleted, which, by the way, you probably have noticed. I put all the videos back up just because I want this to be some sort of a memorial to all the stuff I've made here, and then I want to have some final thing that's like, okay, I am done. And I don't really have much of a choice. The channel might actually get deleted. There's plenty enough on here that I've especially uploaded that if someone wants to do stuff, especially for like hate speech, it's fine. Yeah, so one of the strikes I got was I tried to join the Ku Klux Klan on one of my streams. That's obviously not gonna be allowed. There was one where a man's ass was shown. I've actually shown quite a few men's asses over the years and gotten in trouble over it. There's one here recently where I was being like, I fuck with racist people sometimes because it's funny, and actually 2 of my major strikes come from that. There's the one recently where there was just in VR chat and some dude said he was an airsoft enthusiast and white supremacist. And I'm like, that is fucking cool. So obviously I talked to that guy. But it's whatever. The actual context or intent is not and will never really matter. So it's just I can't really exist here, and there's places I can exist and to do things, and I might as well focus on those, even if it's being a shithead, than somewhere that just like I'm inevitably gonna get banned from this website. I don't really see the point in spending a whole bunch of energy at it, where I can be spending that in other places. And a huge part about not being able to use YouTube anymore is actually like when I get strikes, I can't really use the website. Most functions are removed from me. And I have been a YouTube power user almost since the website's fucking been out. It's like the only form of media I've really watched my entire life was YouTube. It's been hugely impactful over what I do. And the what has happened on this fucking platform is actually kind of sad because I look at what it was originally, and there were originally like they introduced a lot of money and ad stuff, which was kind of fine, and then they changed ads. Hold on. I don't know why I burp so much. Fuck off. I think it's like a nervous tick. It's kind of weird. What the fuck? But they changed a lot of ads, and then came like some corporatization of YouTube. This was like 10 years ago. And then later they changed ads again so that way people, because like fucking people would throw a fit when it was on like a beheading video. And then kind of sponsorships and brand deals started becoming more and more of a thing. Videos that were entirely proxy ads. The playlist functions, like a lot of feature removal, like whether that's like the whatever those reaction video things were, which fuck reaction videos. I don't really care that much about that feature, but the clicking on a fucking text box to do it's like they just removed things. It's like why are like being able to embed videos they kind of removed. It's like still a little bit at the end, but you know, now there's invasion of AI stuff, and the worst thing that I think has ever happened to this fucking website was shorts. And I just look at what made this website so awesome when I first used it and what it is now, and I'm like, oh, this is a piece of fucking shit. And so it's like, not only should I move on from making things here, I have largely moved on from even watching things. The general, I think, just quality of time that I get being spent on here, which is too much, and I can take a step back anyways, even if it was good, is just in the fucking dumpster. And at this point, it's just, I don't see the point anymore. It's pretty easy though to look back and see how good things were, but I know in a weird way there's going to be people that or the same as when I was younger, but they're young now. And I'm curious, almost like in 20 years, like the people who watch TikTok, what are they going to be saying? And I know at some point that I'm hypocritical. I'm just some jaded old man at this point and just not comfortable to change. The part that just kind of annoys me is like, I just wish I had the thing I used to have. Plenty of things are new, but it doesn't very often. Well, it does, but it sucks when it takes away the thing you used to enjoy, because even if there was not that many people on the old version of YouTube, I still wish YouTube was YouTube. It was YouTube, and it's not what the fuck it is now. Um, but that's okay. I've recently in my life, I think, pretty drastically shifted almost a year ago into the type of content. I used to like learn about war and genocide and crazy shit 24/7. And in my mind, I felt this moral obligation to follow essentially the most tragic events possible. Like I was really, really big into foreign politics for a long time. And I was particular places, like I was a huge China watcher for a while. Now it's meta, which is whatever. But I'm not as much of a hipster anymore for doing that. And yeah, and it's just I lost my fucking train of thought. But this is a really rambly dog shit video. I apologize. It's gonna be long. I'm not gonna cut it. Suck my nuts. But yeah, so I've removed myself a lot from these negative things I used to consume 24/7. And I realized it was a problem in that pretty much any change that came out of my life was always out of hate. And there was very little. It was like, for example, if I wanted to lose weight, it was because of how disgusted I was when I was fat. If I wanted to learn about something, it's because of how horrified I was that something like that was going on. If I wanted to do better in my job, it's because of, like I just said earlier, like how much I hated the job I had. And I realized that that mindset was really ruling my entire life. And I think, at least in part, was a big factor as to why I constantly felt like I need to do these massive changes in my life that I am very aggressively trying to resolve, and in a way that's shifting. Like I'm currently at the lightest. I'm still fat, so it's not going to be easy to see this, and I look like I have fucking the plague right now, but I'm at the lightest weight I've been pretty much in my adult life. And the biggest weight loss I've actually found is from the point of, instead of being disgusted by myself and how fat I am, it is by thinking of how sexy and buff and badass I can be if I continue working on it. And it's been by far the best thing I've ever done for my physical health. There's a lot of to focus on the things I care about, and I care a lot about people in general. I've never been, people sometimes think I'm a recluse, but that's never really had a choice. I really deeply love people, and I love being around people all the time. And, very little of that negative energy really comes towards hating people or not wanting to be around them. Even people which are not great influences, I'll just kind of meander about. But I still, that's very seldom that I'm ever around something like that. And like I met a whole bunch of amazing people in New York, and I started hanging out with people here and starting to go out and do things. And like I've been bicycling a lot, camping, a lot of outdoorsy bullshit. And that's kind of one thing in my life I found more and more replacing as I've stopped like watching garbage on the internet more. It's really like the real world is able to give you experiences that are so much more profoundly beautiful than anything you're able to view on the internet. And even if you like weird things, like I was in a fucking abandoned hospital recently. I still think about it all the time because of how amazing of a time I had. Like I was in an abandoned subway. I was just out camping, on hiking with friends, or just hiking alone, or just going on these little fucking adventures. I like to do this thing where I just go out the door. I don't have any idea where I'm going to go, and I just wander. And so many things, so many of those experiences have, I feel like, fueled any sort of positivity I have towards looking at the world. Whereas a lot of, when I watch stuff online, hasn't as much. With that being said, there's still a lot of beautiful things people put on YouTube. There is shitheads in their mother's basement making things that are better than most any movie that was ever made. Where's it at? Over here. Can that come off the fucking wall? Oh no, I nailed it to my wall. So like there's some RuneScape thing over there. There's some weird high quality RuneScape things like settled. There's a lot of really beautiful things on the platform, but just look at it and just be like, all right, I need to move on and replace myself with a lot of these better things, but I still got to be careful so I don't get up to drifter gypsy bullshit. And YouTube isn't all bad. I focused a lot on the bad here, but there's a lot of good. There really is. I just feel like it's at least time for me to personally move on. This would be a good time to end the video, but I still have bullshit to ramble about, so fuck off. And yeah, I used to move a lot. As I've said, there's certain things like I'm moving where it's like, okay, I don't want to move again until have the idea that it is very obtainably going to be the last place I ever move to. I'm done with the moving bullshit. Same with my fucking job. I have that mindset now where it's like, I want to try to find some stability in a lot of that things that I used to always hyper fixate on the exact opposite. And I've been doing a lot better. And so it feels weird to leave YouTube, which is the longest thing I've had. I've been doing it for 4 years. I don't have anything else in my life I've been doing for 4 years, for the most part. And no, it pretty much is. There's really nothing else. But that's okay. Uh, and I can't keep existing in places where it's just like I'm gonna eventually be forced to leave anyways. I need to focus that energy towards places I can actually exist on. Which Discord seems to be kind of okay. I've always kind of skated the line. I think I'm okay now, but if any Discord mod doesn't want me to be there, they can investigate my account, I'm sure, and I will be off of there instantly. But so would a lot of people. I hope I'm okay on that website or app, whatever. Fucking goddamn overinflated IRC chat. I don't give a shit. If I get banned from there, that's pretty catastrophic, but is what it is. Recently, I've been streaming on Kick a lot recently. Kick, it's me and then a bunch of edgy 15-year-olds, internet whores, and degenerate gamblers. But whatever, they let me exist there, and I'm not scared of getting banned. I do plenty that would even get me banned off of Kick. Funny enough, because every website has their own legal things. They want to say they're free speech. They never fucking are. They always just are free speech for the people they care about, and the certain ideals. Like you can say anything as long as it's within this certain box, and no matter where I exist, I'm always gonna, because just be way out of there. I don't have, like, one of the reasons I don't really talk about a whole bunch of political stuff on here is I followed politics, and less so recently, but I used to follow it really closely. I never really had a very strong political alignment, like, at all, because to me the most fun part was just being a shithead. So it's like becoming politically, like, knowing enough about politics so that way I can say interesting things to people or annoy them. And that's always been the reason I was doing that too, at least in reference to speaking to other people. At some point, it's like I probably need to make my own website, and I have before. I've set up an RTMP server website that would like it was pretty basic. It was just a kind of a basic RTMP is the, like, I guess, is protocol the right word, that is used to transfer data over somewhere in a streaming sense, and it's what things like Twitch, Kick, and stuff use. And so I essentially made my own streaming website very basic, and I know I've done some web dev shit a little bit. I know what I'm doing. The problem isn't really that. It's more, there's some, like, high level things, not high level like in programming, but as in very difficult. And there is that I was kind of procrastinating, which mostly is like very complicated data processing stuff that lowers latency, was kind of one of the walls I hit that I just didn't want to fucking deal with. So you're kind of dealing with this native 5 to 10 second delay if you're streaming. That to fix is a lot of really annoying math. That is way above what my retarded ass is able to do. And also, but the biggest problem is actually that if I did a lot of things on my own website, then how the fuck would I get anyone to come look at my shithead, my retarded ass on my own website? I still might at some point. It's essentially my last result, because no matter what, I'm never gonna stop making things. And I don't care if the entire fucking world tries to stop me. I will be talking shit in a goddamn prison. I'll be screaming in solitary confinement at the fucking wall if I need to. I don't give a shit. Um, that's never gonna go that far, obviously. But part of me actually wishes that's how websites were ran. Was that they kind of, I get they can't because advertisers, whatever, fuck you, and people have fucking opinions on Twitter. But I do wish that most websites just functioned as what was legal. Like, if you're in the US, you have to follow US laws using our website. So it's like, if let's say you're in Canada, the website is in America, you have to follow American and Canadian laws if you're on there. And that would be a pretty simple way to run a website, because it's like, we don't want to do anything illegal here, and then just kind of raise your hands at everything else. Um, that'd be awesome. But there's no way that would ever be, like, legitimately applicable to any sort of making money, which is what most people care about. I don't. I've actively done things that were very unfinancially smart, at least in terms of making money, because I just want to do what I want to do. I had a lot of, especially early on, a lot of sponsorship or ways I could have pursued making money, whether that would be following like let's plays or guide stuff, that would have number one just got a lot of traffic. I got a lot of offers early on like partnerships with large Minecraft servers that I, instead of actually considering seriously, I would just fuck with them in the email. Like I told a lot of, I think, teenagers to kill themselves in my Gmail. um, and a lot of like Chinese, a lot of early on, one of the big money ones too, is a lot of shitty Chinese microphone companies because of the Funny Mic wanted me to become like, wanted me to start doing like paid and plus commission work for selling their microphones, which would have once again been funny. But like I said, I don't want to really deal with money. I want people to just to watch me and give me that validation. Eh, I don't really need money. A lot of having a decent job is not so I can get as much money as possible, but it's so that way I don't have to stress really about money anymore. And like I have a decent quality of life. Like that's what's important. But once I get like I make a little over 20 an hour and I have good quality of life, and anything past that point, I actually don't really care about. And a lot of my improvements in my career are more based around having more technically interesting, because I'm in IT now, having more technically interesting positions is actually my main driver. I don't really care about anything else. Um, Other than like quality of life, which is it's important. And thankfully that is pretty good in IT generally, at least for what I've been doing. Um, Now time to look back at the really dog shit bullet point thing, because I really don't want to miss anything. Oh yeah, this is another bit. A lot of things is that I don't want to make it over like seem too much like, oh, I'm a real one, I'm grounded, I'm genuine. No, I'm fucking not. Um, Everything with what I've said here, I'm not my genuine self. I'm here in front of a camera, and given that context, I am this weird bastardized version of who I really am. But it's still fairly close, I feel, but still don't really view who I am or what I think is something that you should value too much within your personal life. A lot of this should just be a bored curiosity, I feel. I think a lot of issues here recently, and it seems to have gotten a lot worse, and it's getting worse and worse with the parasocial things. And I feel like I've personally overshared my thoughts and too much personal information about my life. I have a lot to thank for that, obviously, but if anyone's interested in making content on the internet, a piece of advice I would give is actually to not do any of that. Don't be genuine. Be as far away from genuine as possible. To accept, well, do what you're gonna fucking do. And if you enjoy doing one, which is what led me, like I didn't make guides, I didn't make let's plays, because I just didn't really enjoy it, and I didn't care about like the success side of things. I always had enough people watching me, at least a couple. I don't fucking care. But if you're going to pursue something, make sure you're, I guess, allowed to exist in that space with who you want to be. I did the opposite for way too long. And if you're creating, if you're going to be somewhere, also pretty consider making like some false persona that falls within what's acceptable at that time, which will change in 5 years, but who fucking cares? And that's totally fine. Just play a character, understand you're putting on an act. Like really, because, there's a lot of, there is far more bad to come out of being truly who you are on the internet than not. And it's because what's going on here is not your real life. It doesn't matter. There's so many important things that matter. Your friends, your family, and if you struggle with those things, and trust me, I have a lot at times, and I fucking am right now, but it still, it's like your job, your hobbies, like these things that are way more grounded to your personal life are significantly more important than the validation you get by strangers on the internet. And just try to do what you can to curb and psychologically separate yourself from your online persona, which once again is a reminder there always is. um oh, that's a pussy. There we go, there's the rest of it. Yeah, it's so at the moment I like streaming a lot. I think it's kind of the thing I've landed on that I enjoy the most. I like interacting with people, kind of like I said earlier, and that gives me an outlet to always interact with people. Um, Not sure if I'll do it forever. I'd like to try to commit to things, and I'm on like 80 some days in a row. God damn it. I'm on like 80 some days in a row with streaming, and I'm pretty proud of that. It's the longest I've done something every single day, I think, since the start of YouTube. And I'd like to get it, like 90 was my first goal, then higher and higher. I don't really know. Um, But I might do stuff like documentaries, whatever. I don't really fucking care. And yeah, it's just I'm gonna glance through my fucking notes here and make sure I've talked about anything. I think I've pretty much covered every single thing that there is to talk about. This dense 4 pages of notes. It's almost 25 fucking minutes now. Um, and yeah, I guess as final, the first off is thank you if you're one of the people that has stuck around over the time, especially this video is fucking horrible. I just wanted to kind of get what I had to think out there as like one final hurrah and move on to other things in my life, which by the way, check me out. I'll have a Discord linked. I stream on Kick every day right now. And feel free to check me out there, especially if you lasted this far into this fucking rambly dog shit video. I don't really think anyone will, but who cares? And also, I guess just as one final time, one last hoorah, I would like to give you guys one last funny mic. So, all right. Yeah! Oh, there's a limiter on. Fuck. Hold on. Yeah! 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 All right. Goodbye, guys.